Going on, everybody? Welcome to Striking Gold, your 49ers podcast on the Blue Wire Network. My name's Rob Lowder. That's KP Show, also known as Kyle Posey. We cover it for you guys, man. Other side of the screen, other side of the speaker, no matter what, I appreciate you being here with us. KP also does that thing for NinersNation.com, and we are here to break down the 49ers' final preseason game. 3 of 3. It's over. It's done. And the next takeaway time that we have will be reacting to a regular season football game against the Rams in Australia. It's going to be a hell of a time. A little disclaimer. Your boy, Rob Lowder, has been in back to school night for the last 2 hours. I have been talking nonstop for the last 2 hours to all of my parents in the different periods of class. And I got to watch maybe the first couple series, and then it was back to work for me. So KP is going to quarterback us through takeaway time. And I'll offer my thoughts on anything I feel like I can contribute. But for the most part, This is takeaway time featuring KP, and I helped is essentially what it is. So, KP, before we get into the takeaways, which is not a huge list, we'll have plenty of time for your own thoughts. What did you think of the game? Was it preseason football at its best?
It was. Like, once we got into the second quarter, even you could see the drop off. You could see, oh man. I can see why teams only keep 53 players and not 90 players. So, yeah, you can definitely see the quality in play change pretty quickly.
Mike McVeigh, longtime listener and contributor to Takeaway Time, said, "What's up, Rob with KP? Can't wait for the season to start. We're dangerously close. It's Thursday. The 49ers' first game is on a Thursday, is it not? So are we 2 weeks away from the 49ers' first game of the season?"
The real deal, sure are.
Oof, man, that is exciting. Okay, well, let's waste no time. And again, and if anybody has any thoughts and you're in the YouTube, feel free to put them in there. We get to both of them, but we're going to go straight for the YouTube comments. Right now, we've only got 5 takeaways, so we'll be able to kind of flesh them out a little bit more and then go with anything else that we're seeing in the chat. So, we've got a striking gold hashtag beginning. That might be the first one. Hashtag SG. Man, come into the video and drop the hashtag SG. Ooh, I like it. That might have to become a thing. Okay, so we're starting off on the one thing that I actually got to see in the game, a very small amount of. We're starting off with You Ain't Leet. Says, Alfred Collins is straight chocolate cheeks, more buns than a Big Mac. Send his ass to Tennessee for anything. Oh, so KP, take it away, my friend. That's what you get to start off with.
Why would Saleh want him? Like, why would Saleh take that? He has Jeffrey Simmons. I don't think. What if that's the reason Saleh left? Because he never signed off on Collins being a second round pick. I think that's just kind of asking for it. No, I agree, and it's been the same every preseason game, and tonight was no different. At first, people were like, well, it's his first game back. He's just knocking off the rust. Last week, a lot of the same, well, it's only his second game back. He's just knocking off the rust. So what can you say this week? Well, it's only his third game back. He's not. No, man, it's just fundamental stuff. He can't keep his feet in the ground and he can't stay in his gap, man. It's very consistent. That play that you mentioned, that 10 yards getting driven off.
First play of the game. They ran right at Alfred Collins.
That cannot happen, man. I'd be surprised if he starts. I know that, he might because, you have Osa on one side and you have like the big body on the other side, but I would start CJ West and I wouldn't think twice about it, honestly. So they have some interesting, he's going to make the roster. He's a second round pick, but he's not one of their top 4 defensive tackles. I don't think that's a stretch at all to say that. So no, don't disagree there. I don't want to like keep harping on it because maybe it's a preseason and he just flips a switch, but hasn't shown that. Hasn't played like that in the preseason at all.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because I initially in his rookie season, I saw a lot of things that I liked from Alfred Collins. I liked the way he played football. Obviously, he was a big effort guy, and hopefully he can put it together, But if you're spending your entire offseason, I see it as I'm saying this, it's almost exactly what Strawberry Reacts put in the chat. He spent his entire offseason recovering from a surgery. He had to have shoulder surgery. That's a big deal in the defensive line world. But eventually, when you're out there, you're out there. And it's time to play football. And hopefully that's not something – it's two things, man. Either he's shaking off a whole ton of rust from surgery in the offseason, which you can only use that excuse for so long, or – you're hoping that the shoulder isn't still nagging at him and it isn't still affecting the way he plays football because, man, that's a lot. So let's get through some comments real quick because they all kind of pertain to the same thing. Big Tone said, what's going to happen now with defensive tackles? Thompson Jr. looked good. Eason looks good. You can only have so many. Obviously, they're going to give Weston Collins extensive playing time. Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about the rosters last episode. I think they should keep Bryson Eason and James Thompson and find a way to keep everybody. Like, to me, they would find a way. I don't think one of those guys would clear waivers. So we'll see how they go. Strawberry React said not to make excuses, but it could be because he spent the entire offseason rehabbing instead of actually working on improving his play. It's an aspect. It's a part of it. It just seems very dramatic. Kawachipto said, I thought West was worse tonight. I did not watch most of the game, so I wouldn't be able to contribute to that. Did you spend any time watching CJ West?
Yeah, definitely. He didn't have a great game by any stretch of the imagination. He missed a tackle. He got moved around just a little bit, but I think just from what I've been reading from practice reports, what I've been seeing, West just has a higher floor than Collins, and that's why I would start him in the run game anyway.
When it comes to, and Calchito said, getting uplifted was hard to watch. Valdez was Sebastian Valdez, and he's I think he's on the outside looking in when it comes to the roster. All the defensive tackles were pretty rough today. Yeah, if you look at the Raiders' run game, I mean, Mike Washington looked like an absolute stud. He had 8 carries for 49 yards. I saw him running average 6.1 yards per carry. The very first run of the game was right at Alfred Collins for like 10 yards. The Raiders averaged 4.2 yards per carry on the day, which isn't great. Anytime an offense can get over 4 yards a carry, you can kind of claim that as a success for the run game. So it definitely wasn't a good game when it came to the defense.
They were missing tackles left and right, and not just the defensive tackles, who I do agree with, by the way, that I don't think just the group in general had a good day. But defensively, in that second quarter, it seemed like they missed 5 to 10 tackles. It was pretty rough.
It looked like the backups were playing football, yes. At least initially. It was pretty rough. But I mean, and something to consider, and it's not a cop-out for anything, but the Raiders treated that game like it was their first. That was their rehearsal game. They talked about it on the broadcast. The Raiders were playing their starters initially, whether it was Fernando Mendoza, whether it was Kirk Cousins on defense, on offense. They were playing their starters. They even game planned for this game. Now they were talking, the broadcasters were talking about the fact that they game planned, treated it like how NFL teams used to treat the third preseason game when there was 4 of them.
Back in my day.
Right. So that could be a factor of it. The 49ers were they barely started any starters. I don't know. I'm assuming a few of them started just by necessity, but it wasn't a fair matchup in terms of units that were out there. Big Tone said Dinkins not perfect, but he took someone from one hash to the sidelines. He looks leaner than I thought, but strong with the blocking when he did make contact head on. Yeah, Khalil Dinkins. KP mentioned it before we even started recording. Cal Chipto said Dinkins will be good on the practice squad. You mentioned Khalil Dinkins before we started recording, KP. What were some of the things you saw?
So that block that he's talking about, he basically drove him like 4 to 5 yards.
Do you know who he was blocking?
Dinkins. I'm pretty sure it was either 50s or 7. It was either a linebacker or a D tackle. It wasn't a DB. I thought that was really impressive. I thought just throughout the course of the game, and I know he didn't get involved in the passing game, but Dinkins played with a type of aggression, played with a type of intensity that is going to earn him a roster spot. I thought it was pretty telling that they brought him back just after he got healthy. So he has to just be this moldable ball of clay, this raw, toolsy, which is peak Penn State athlete. But I thought his blocking was very, very good today. And I would go as far to say that he blocked better than any other tight end that played this preseason. I know it's a small sample size. It's one game, but he had some really impressive plays. And you could just tell, you could see like why they would want to roll the dice on a guy like this. Probably not going to make the roster, but I think maybe 1-2 years down
James
the line.
Franklin. Said Pete James
it
Franklin.
Really is. Maybe 1 or 2 years down the line, you're talking about tight end 2, tight end 3.
You don't think he can squeak onto the active roster, can you?
That'd be tough just because the numbers game and
right.
With Kittle coming back, I think it allows you to keep only 3 tight ends. So no, and you don't have to. Like he's going to get cleared. Nobody signed him when he was available.
Yeah, you would hope so. Because immediately when they signed him, I went and looked at what tape I could find of him, and he looks like a nice, well-rounded player with some ability in the pass game, even though it wasn't utilized that much. He looked like somebody that they could really take advantage of, and he looked like a good athlete, and he looked like a decent blocker. So hopefully he sticks around, man. I was excited to see where he was going to go, and I think that if he wouldn't have got injured, I think there's a chance maybe we'd be having a more serious conversation about him on this roster. If he had an entire training camp in preseason, maybe he could have pushed somebody like Luke Farrell, but still tough to do.
You could have gotten an opportunity to develop more in the passing game, right? You could have gotten an opportunity to see him run routes and whatnot. But today, which was his first game, it was pretty clear they view him as a guy like a blocker first, and then you pivot from there into the passing game. But honestly, like just as a passer, even in pass protection, like he looked like he knew where to go, but as a run blocker, he looked very good.
Cool. It's a good place to start. But yeah, the things in the receiving game I saw when I was looking, it looked solid. It looked good. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops. Next on the takeaway time list is Mike McVeigh. He said, "What's up, Rob? Didn't get to watch the game because I live in downtown OC, but NFL Network will air it at 10 p.m. Glad to be here for the takeaways and happy for the season to start. Love that you and KP have the new format on YouTube. And here's to a great season with the hashtag Striking Gold fam." Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Hashtag.
Appreciate you, Mike. Always appreciate you, man. Always appreciate hearing from you before every game and all the little stuff you have to say. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Thanks for jumping into the chat. Next is Sograz. He said, the 25 draft is looking rough. This team is good, but has clear weaknesses. If they don't make an external move, I can totally see this team lose a playoff game because of a blown left guard protection or blown coverage from a safety. And they need another competent pass rusher on the edge. Who was playing at offensive line? Did Carver Willis get to play?
Carver Willis played the entire first half. I want to say he played into the third quarter as well. So they got
Shanahan said he was making a push for the spot.
Yeah, they got a long look at Willis, and that's why, right? You have to see what he can and can't do. I didn't notice any mistakes in pass protection. He's still I don't know if he's just not big enough, not strong enough to hold up on a down-to-down basis, but
he's got very short arms.
Right. There's still some questions as a run blocker, but I think he's going to be fine in pass protection. And if he can just be competent, if he can just hold his own on the ground, there are enough good players around him. The scheme should take care of itself. So I really don't think left guard is going to cost the team, like people think it will. I really don't.
Sograz added in the comments, so he's pulling double duty right now.
I would
Said
agree.
that he's a future center, and yeah, I think the 49. Ideally, like if things would have gone better for this whole competition, I think you probably would have seen Robert Jones take command, or Connor Colby take command of the left guard spot, and I think the 49ers probably would have been cross training Carver Willis as a center and a guard this entire time.
I would agree.
Because right now they don't really have a backup center. Like the 49ers like their backup centers to be guard and center compatible. They don't just like having a solo backup center. And that's who they wanted Brett Toth to be because he's played
RIP.
both. But he just hasn't done anything, and he's had an injury and then a concussion, and he just hasn't played at all. You've got who's the other guy that's behind there with the solo, the center only guy though, Drake Nugent. Yeah, they got Drake Nugent, but he doesn't really play. He hasn't played any guard for them, so I don't know if Drake Nugent, if they value him enough to keep him on the roster. But I think to Sograz's point about him being a future center, I think the 49ers really envisioned somebody holding a more commanding grasp of the left guard spot, and Carver Willis being able to cross train as both, and then that would have made somebody like Drake Nugent unnecessary on the final roster. But now they have to think about it.
I think it's pretty evident that they just don't value left guard. And if Carver Willis has to play left guard this year, then so be it. But with Drake Brindle's contract up, I think they would move Carver to center and then just keep playing musical chairs at left guard next year and the year beyond until they just kind of
until they finally give up and just get a quality player there.
Until they hit the slot machine, essentially. So
right. That's kind of how they run everything.
Right. That's fair. Yeah.
Is this a good offensive lineman? Nope. Okay, next.
To Sograz's point too, though, about the safeties, I think this season is going to be all D line, right? I think the front seven specifically, like they are going to do everything for the 49ers. If the opposing offense is giving up big plays, defensive line. If the coverage is doing well, defensive line. I think everything's going to just point back to what happens up front.
Sograz said, agreed. They do this every year. Mike Person, Daniel Brunskill, John Feliciano, Spencer Burford, and now we've got Connor Colby and Carver Willis and Robert Jones. It's this crazy list of players that are like just good enough to be considered for the job or just good enough to hold up against an NFL defensive tackle. But then unfortunately, eventually we see something eventually gives way and you kind of realize the mistake you made. But
they went into last season with Ben Bartz as a projected left guard starter. There was no evidence that he would hold up for a full season. Like he had literally always gotten hurt before like week 4, before week 5. There was one season, 2021, where he played every game. But outside of that, he's legitimately always gotten hurt within a matter of like 100 snaps. But they rolled into last year like, you know what? This year's going to be different. And then week 2 rolls around and then he gets banged up on the first series of week 2 in New Orleans. So, yeah, I don't know what they thought this year. Maybe it's Robert Jones. Maybe it's Carver Willis. Maybe it's Austin Pleasance. It sounds like all 3 of those guys are going to make the roster. We know Willis is going to make the roster. But when Shanahan was like, Pleasance and Robert Jones are going to be on the plane to Australia. Okay. So we know those guys are going to be on the roster.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then Sograz's last point was, and they need another competent pass rusher. Keon White looked good in the snaps that I saw. Saw him get a sack that looked pretty nice. I didn't see enough of the game to really take in. He's going to have a huge role this season, whether the 49ers wanted it or not. But Keon White's going to have a huge role. And me and KP and everybody in the chat have been banging the you need another pass rush drum for quite some time now. And they just keep bringing these guys in to fill in for injuries and just kind of take them through the next preseason game. But they have not signed anybody to just be like the dude. And every time I see and there's still some options out there. Like, I don't have it in front of me, but like, I don't know what, why can I not remember his name? What's Nick Bosa's brother's name?
Joseph?
Joey. Joey Bosa might want to get on the action now that training camp's winding down.
He's fishing.
Kyle Van Noy has said that he'd like to get in. He'd like to join the 49ers. I mean, of course, that doesn't mean much. I'm sure there's a lot of unemployed players that would like to join the
Right.
49ers.
I want a job.
Yeah, right. But there's still some talented players out there. It's just a matter of, I don't know. I don't. The 49ers, the best way for me to describe their pass rush situation is they're acting like everything's okay, but it's not. And maybe they have a ton of confidence in Nick Bosa's knee, but it just seems like
not the way Kyle Shanahan's talking about it. He keeps saying like, "Oh, we're going to see how he looks in these practices next week." He said that twice over the past 2 times that he spoke. So Keon White's going to play his position, which is rushing the passer from the inside. Really didn't get a chance to do that last year because all the injuries forced him to play on the edge. So in a sense, like they're going to be better because all of these players are going to play their role. Samo's going to play early downs. Keon White's going to be like that designated pass rusher. Romello Height, designated type pass rusher. So in a sense, add all those guys up with Osa, with Bosa, you would think they're going to be okay. They're going to be better than I think fans believe they are heading into the regular season. And that's assuming one of these D tackles, like somebody besides Osa, provides anything. And I think they're going to be okay if that is the case. So like a big asterisk, but there's a path to them having a lot of success in the same vein.
Sogras said, let's run through some of these comments. He said, I think there's a legitimate case that the second best pure pass rusher on the edge is Ogbo. I'm not sure Height is ready. And it's kind of seemed that way. It's kind of seemed that way. And he had a fantastic preseason. Like that could be a surprise to make the roster. Like Ogbo could be the guy that like replaces not necessarily the same position, but somebody that replaces Michael Williams' roster spot while he's, unaccounted for or on the PUP list. And then, maybe they consider keeping him on. He's just looked good. And there's no way to know if Height's ready because his role is going to be so specific anyways. And he's been hurt. So, I mean, we'll see where they're going to go from there. I like Height's skill set, but I feel like there's just going to be a pretty significant learning curve for a guy in the NFL that has to win in one specific way, and that's speed. Anthony Rios said, can you guys give me your thoughts on Quentin Bell? We'll make the squad. I met him and his family at the Marriott Hotel for the home preseason game. Awesome and humble family. Hoping he makes it. I don't think he makes the 53-man roster. But he seems like a guy that they could probably bring back to the practice squad. They usually have a couple pass rushers there, but he's had a ton of competition in this one. Like I said, I mean, I don't know who's making the 53, but you got Bryson Eason, you got James Thompson Jr. You got Ogbo, who we were just talking about. He's in competition with him. Keon White's in front of him. And then who else? Romello Height. Yeah. So he's got competition, but it seems like a lot. There's a decent chance that he would have a place on the practice squad, which, hey, nobody should complain about, man. If you make the practice squad, you're still on the team. You're still around. And I think the 49ers call guys up often.
I think Okoronkwo is going to be the guy, the veteran, who I don't even know if he makes the roster, but, vested veteran, they can do a handshake deal. They bring back Okoronkwo, and he's the one who gets, the practice elevations until Michael is ready. And then maybe he is that, that veteran who helps you out early on in the season. And maybe you found a gem and he turns into Charles Omenihu, which is a high bar, but realistically, just a role player who can, keep your other guys fresh. I think he showed enough this preseason where he can be just a versatile threat that can give you 15-ish snaps. And that's how you keep Bosa fresh throughout the season.
Right. I wonder how this looks. Okay, little chat on the side. I'll have to work that into design. I just made it to where the chat shows up on the YouTube or on the video. Big Tone said, "Is Watkins one of those cases that you see in preseason? You see production and catches, but not doing everything that you really need him to do. Seems like that seems to be the consensus."
Could not agree more.
I replied to one of Dieter's tweets about Watkins making it. Having a tough time. And I replied to Dieter and I just said, he seems uncomfortable doing the simple things right now. Like, just catching the ball and being in position and going up for any sort of a contested catch or fighting for position or trying to gain leverage in the way he run routes or his space on the field. Like the simple basics of being a receiver seem uncomfortable to him right now. He just seems like he's in a weird spot. I don't know. He made some catches that I didn't see. Did you see anything else from Jordan Watkins that were good or bad?
I saw plenty from Jordan Watkins tonight. Would not say the majority of those were good. I don't think he should make the roster. We talked about this a little bit the other night where, like, are you really going to miss him? I thought he showed the type of things that would drive Kyle Shanahan insane. So on his first kick return, remember last year, like Shanahan would always praise Sky Moore for like hitting it hard, like hit the hole. On his first opportunity for the kick return, he like turtled up. He braced for the contact. Like, okay, you don't even want to get hit. Like, what does that show? What does that say?
And he doesn't block either, which is kind of might blend into the whole thing.
Right. Like if physicality is not your thing, the National Football League is not your thing. On the third down, it was almost identical to the Stribling fade a couple of games ago. So they call a fade for him, like a go ball, and he can't find, like, he's running down the field.
I did see that. Yep.
You know, once you get past your certain marker, you know this, you look back for the freaking ball. Like that's like one-on-one stuff. And he, at the very last minute, he's like, no, like, how do you not know the ball is coming to you? Even if it's not, you should understand, hey, I'm at this landmark. I should have beaten my man by now, so I should be looking back for the ball. That was an issue. So he ended up catching, I think, 4 of his 8 targets for 64 yards, which looks good on the surface.
8 targets, 4 of 8 is rough.
I mean, like 4 for 64. Sure, like I'm not debating that. I don't think he's an NFL wide receiver. Like, respectfully, most of his stuff's coming on, just crossing routes. Most of his production comes when he's going against like the 3rd and 4th stringers.
But what about the gauntlet drill?
That's another thing, is like he doesn't play as fast as he times, and I could not it's the exact opposite when it comes to Jacob Kaelon. I think Kaelon is legitimately the fastest person when he's on the field at all times, where if you told me Watkins ran a 4.3 without knowing that, I would not guess that just by watching him play.
No, and again, I've said this many times. I don't want to, but there's so much more to playing that position than speed, man. Even when it comes to getting open deep. And what's funny is with receivers, you usually on deep routes, you usually have the problem of them looking for the ball too soon. And so they're just trying to run down the field while looking, even though they should know that the ball's not going to get there for another 10 or 15 yards. So why are you looking for the ball? You usually don't have problems with receivers never looking for the ball or waiting too long. So it's such a weird thing to do. Like, you do realize we were trying to throw it to you, right? Like, it's an odd thing. And like I said, it all plays into the idea that for some reason, doing the simple things looks uncomfortable for Jordan Watkins right now. And it's tough. It's not that he can't do it, but he seems like he's got himself into some sort of funk where just being a receiver and doing normal standard receiver things look difficult for him. And it's always rough to see someone do that. Like, because you feel like they're capable of more, but they just can't fight through whatever block they've got. Okay, let's jump to the next takeaway. There's only 2 more that are official. Actually, there's really only 1 more because Anthony Rios took his takeaway from the Twitter and brought it into the chat. So we've got Kevin Molina, longtime friend of mine. Him and I have followed each other on Twitter for, I don't know, since I created the Twitter almost, since I started tweeting about the 49ers. Kevin said, if the 49ers actually commit to Kaelon Black and Jordan James having roles on offense, then the run game will be the best it's been since 22 and 23. So, I mean, and really, when you think about it, what was the run game in 22-23? Just the Christian McCaffrey show?
It was like turn around and give it to 23 and just watch him outrun everybody.
Right. But
I agree, though. I could not agree more, honestly. There are some very promising things in the preseason from both running backs. So Jordan James, most of his yardage tonight came after contact. He's not like this, speedster. He's not even like a bulky power back, but he always finds a way to bounce off tackles. He just seems like the slippery guy who's going to fall forward for 3-4 yards.
Somebody said, I was watching John Chapman's live stream on the way home, and somebody said Kaelon Black reminded him of the muscle hamster.
Nice.
Who was that
Doug Martin?
from? Doug Martin from Tampa Bay, right? When he was with Tampa Bay, they called
That's
it the
pretty
muscle
good.
hamster.
Probably
And
a
I'm
little
like,
faster than Doug Martin's probably a little faster, but the running styles are comparable.
Yeah, so I was like, that's not bad. And Kaelon Black is absolutely yoked. But yeah, tell me about what you saw from both of them.
I thought James played pretty well. I thought there was one play where I highlighted in the Kaelon Black video last week where, hey man, just put your foot in the ground, 3rd and 1, stay on a vertical path, and you're going to get there. Where Jordan James could not he could not resist the urge to bounce it, which is so college football, where everybody, I'm faster than everybody, I'm going to do this. Where no, it's the NFL, man. You gotta stay north, stay on your vertical path, and he didn't do that. But outside of that, I feel like he played very, very well. Again, like just for the most part, everything came after contact. He had a 17-yarder, I believe. He caught a screen where he ran through an ankle tackle, still bounced off a tackle, and just got more yards. I think got 5 yards after contact on that specific play. So like he looks like a player who can contribute. Kaelon Black had a couple nice runs, a couple nice carries. He did have one mishap where it seemed like he was running a choice route, and I think Mac wanted him to settle down, and he didn't. But that's a rookie, right? Like he's going to have to learn how to read coverages on the fly. Welcome to the NFL, big dog. That's just how the game works. But for the most part, man, I think I would agree with that. I think that having 2 capable, competent running backs is going to make life so much easier for Christian McCaffrey because you don't have to rely on him for 30 touches a game. He should not be doing that this year. I would say, man, like if you truly believe, Kyle Shanahan, that Black and James can give you 10 carries, like maybe a combined 15 carries a game, then I think McCaffrey in November, McCaffrey in December is going to be so much better for the team. Really think that they both showed enough in the preseason where you can give them run early on in the regular season. So no, I agree with that. I think the running game is going to be a lot better than people think as well this regular season. And that's going to blend into, the quarterback being better, the passing game being better, and the offense as a whole being better. So defense is going to have to defend every area of the field, and that's going to be big.
Jordan James, 8 carries for 35 yards, 4.4 a pop. Kaelon Black, 4 carries for 28 yards, 7 yards a pop. Jordan Watkins got some sweeps or something. He had 3 carries for 27 yards.
They were trying to do everything they can to give him the ball. He almost ran out of bounds on one. I was like, nope, just cut him now. But he said in bounds. I was happy for him.
Which is probably a sign that Jordan Watkins is on the bubble. Like they are trying to give him as many looks as they can because they truly believe that it could go either way. Like, if they're giving somebody like Jordan Watkins that many different, they're trying to get the ball in his hands that many different times, that many different ways, that many different times and ways. They're trying to make up their mind during this game, and that what he did today is going to go into their decision on whether or not he makes the roster. Poor Sincere McCormick, man, got 7 carries for 8 yards. And he's had a pretty good preseason, so he must have just had no blocking in those carries. Like I said, I didn't see him, but
you said McCormick?
Yeah, Sincere McCormick had 7 carries for 8 yards.
It was tough.
Like, come on, guys, help me get something here.
Herbert, I think Herbert broke one.
He had 8 carries for 39 yards at 4.9 a pop, so that's pretty sweet. Was it kind of? It seemed like it might have been kind of how we predicted it would be, where Kaelon Black got the first couple series, and then Jordan James played the rest of the half, and then the other running backs took it over from there. Is that kind of how it played out?
I'm pretty sure James played into the third quarter even. Okay. So he missed a ton of time. That makes sense. And, he needed the reps. Like, he hasn't played live football outside of the playoff game in a long time. So I think it made sense. I think they had a good plan with the running backs tonight. But yeah, after James left, I think middle third, it was just back and forth between Herbert and McCormick. Yeah, not much doing for McCormick. Not that he did anything bad. He just, the blocking wasn't there and could not create for himself, which is a good example of, hey, James, for example, I'm pretty sure I don't have it specifically, but of his 35 yards, I would bank on at least 20 of those being after contact, which if you can create for yourself, you can earn you can earn carries, and James did that. McCormick did not.
Big Tone said, "Well, Ephesians Pricesock makes the 53-man roster. What is going on with Nate Hobbs?" Ephesians Pricesock had a shoulder injury during the game and was ruled out fairly quickly. Now, that could be – it's two ways to look at it. Typically, in a normal 49ers, a regular season game, if someone gets an injury and gets ruled out quickly, it's usually not a great sign. They know the injury is significant enough for them to immediately be ruled out for the rest of the game. But in the preseason, I tend to think that, like, if somebody gets nicked up, they're just like, all right, he's not going to come back in. You know, it's not necessarily the same thing. But if Ephesians Pricesock's shoulder injury is significant enough, you know, he could be somebody that goes on IR, whether that's to return or for the season. Now, I think that, you know, they might see Ephesians Pricesock as somebody there's a chance they could need him during the season. So I don't think they're in any hurry to, you know, he might just make, I assume he's going to make the 53. He's a fourth rounder. You cut him, somebody is claiming him. So either he's just making the 53-man roster and they're going to give him time to recovery from whatever injury that is, or it's not even an injury that's, you know, it might not be serious. We got to keep that in mind. And then Big Tone said, "What's up with Nate Hobbs?" I don't know. I don't know if he's going to make the roster. Yeah, he's been injured twice. He was injured.
No need.
Yeah, he was injured at the start of training camp, came back from that, and then immediately got injured again and has missed the rest of training camp. So I don't see how you include him on the roster unless what you saw during that short window in training camp was great and you're just confident that he's going to come back. But he's struggled with injuries over the last couple of years of his career, or maybe he always has. But I know they had a huge they were a huge reason that Green Bay let him go. So I'm not sure he's going to even make the roster.
Groin injury that kept him out the entire month, 1-year contract, slot only player. You have a slot that you should not take off the field as it is. And Nate Hobbs has never played special teams.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of value there.
Right. It never made sense to me to begin with, unless you really want to push Hobbs, or unless you want to play Hobbs, if you want to really push Stout, or you're going to play Hobbs out of position outside, which is not something that he, you know, fared well at early on in his career. So it was a questionable signing to begin with. Obviously, a groin injury is not something you wish on anybody, but the injuries kept him out long enough to where he can't even compete. He did nothing about your opinion should have changed now from Hobbs before the hand, because he just hasn't played at all.
I happened to be watching when Jacob Robinson did a super good job of holding the edge on a play where he was going up against like a tight end, and he's a small corner, and he was able to whip around and make the tackle on the edge. Did he make any other plays?
He was targeted a couple of times. I think he did give up one. I don't know if that was a screen or not, but I do remember him just running and chasing, but didn't miss any tackles. Did have that make that play like you said. Again, I don't think he makes a roster, but I do think he makes a practice squad.
Yeah, and it depends, you know, somebody like Nate Hobbs, if they're cutting him, and we'll see what Ephesians Pricesock's injury is, if anything, you know. So there's still a scenario where Jacob Robinson could squeak onto the roster, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Yeah,
the backup nickel is Deommodore Lenoir. Like, that's who would play if Upton Stout got hurt. And Jack Jones on the very first drive made 2 plays, and that should be enough to give you confidence. He almost, like the gambler man, struck again. He almost had an interception jumping a slant route. Also made an open field tackle.
I did see that one. That was nice.
A couple good weeks in a row here for Jack Jones.
And his name's Jack Jones. I feel like having a good alliteration name that's that short and succinct, like, just ups your chances. Man, your name's Jack Jones. Like, you got a chance at a roster spot.
I'm here right now. Speaking of alliteration, I'm here right now. I want to be in Houston. My girlfriend's in Houston to watch Jack Johnson.
Oh, see, there you go, dude. It's just
man. JJ.
It happens a lot, man. My little brother's kids are both names start with L with the last name Lowder, so it's always a pleasant experience for alliteration. Never a bad time for alliteration. Wasn't mentioned in the takeaways. Nobody's mentioned in the chat so far. Eddie Pinheiro nails. Corliss Waitman nails. I think he put everything inside of the 20. if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the kicks here. Yeah, Corliss Waitman averaged 46.5 yards per punt, which is a great average. Had a long of 53. And so he punted 4 times, and 3 of them were inside the 20. So what did you see from the special teams, man? Let's talk special teams. Eddie Pinheiro made a few from plus 50, right?
Yeah, there's no reason to use a draft pick on a special teamer as proven.
What?
Because Eddie went 6 for 6, 3 for 3 from 50 plus, and he's making these with like room to spare too, which is kind of wild.
I think his kicks have almost no movement too. That's just straight to where it needs to go.
He's nailing all of these. The only downside to your kicker nailing 350 yarders in the final preseason game is that's always going to be in Shanahan's head throughout the year. So playing the Rams, knowing the Rams are going to be able to score, Shanahan, do not fall for this. Do not play for field goals. You have a very good offense. Use it. Field goals should be when it's like 4th and unmanageable, I would say.
You're gonna be saying, Shanahan, you've got a great offense. Use it, and Shanahan's gonna be like, Eddie Pinheiro's my edge.
Kicker's better.
They don't have an Eddie Pinheiro.
Yep. 50 automatic from 50 plus. Not trying to hear that.
Where's your Eddie Pinheiro?
Right. No, he's money, man. He is money. Nothing.
That was, I mean, as silly as it is to talk about, I felt like that was one of the smartest moves they made in the offseason. Like, do not subject yourself anymore to this kicking shenanigans, these Shanahanigans, like just allow yourself you found a kicker, you got lucky, you hit the lottery. Eddie Pinheiro just happened to be at home kicking into, his back fence, and you were able to give him a call and bring him on. You just happened to bring on one of the highest field goal percentage kickers in the history of the NFL. Sure enough, you sign him, you bring him on, and he starts nailing everything except for the occasional extra point, which is still weird. I don't understand why those trouble him. Like, they're different. And then they just re-signed him. Huh?
Waitman had good numbers tonight too. Like, I know you mentioned how long he punted, but I saw at one point that, and it's probably finalized, his hang time was over 5 seconds.
I think he's a big hang time guy too.
Yeah,
like I think that's his strong suit. If he can get the hang time and the placement, then the 49ers are going to be cooking.
Hang time, no returns, inside the 20.
Yes. Right. And now we know why Jack Bomeister never got a chance, man. Corliss Waitman came to play. It's excited about Eddie Pinheiro. I'm excited to see Corliss Waitman keep doing his thing. Trying to be excited about. Did anybody do anything in the return game?
No, I mentioned Watkins turtling up. I think that was pretty much the only one. He tried to reverse field on one punt return, but that was the difference. Like, that's the speed difference. Maybe it's just not game speed, play speed for him. Maybe it's just training track speed that doesn't translate. But I would imagine Jaden Duggar is going to get some love. Maybe not love is the right word, because he I think on the box score it said he had 10 tackles.
Did he play? So he played.
Yeah. He played a ton. He was pretty much all the rookies played into the third quarter. Like, they were rookies plus Alfred Collins.
Were there any Larry Worth sightings?
Larry Worth did make a tackle. I do remember seeing that. I don't think he did anything other than that play, but he might have missed one too. So no bueno there.
I don't even see him.
There were a ton of misses.
Box score.
Ashton Davis missed a couple. Jaden Duggar did miss 2 tackles. He had one where a guy was dead to rights. I think he was targeted quite a bit too. He just looked, I don't want to say lost. He just looked a step behind, like unsure of himself, like you would imagine a day 3 rookie is going to look. But not a great outing for Duggar, because he did allow quite a bit of yards after contact and had both those missed tackles. I think it's set in stone that he's going to be the next linebacker, but the strong side linebacker whenever they bring in a third.
It's a lot on his plate.
Yeah, I don't know if that's who I want starting against the Sean McVay offense, because McVay is going to put him under the microscope, and that is not what you want, right? You want to be in a position where, hey, like McVay, if you're going to target somebody, target Fred Warner. If you're going to do something like beyond my best player, and it's just with a guy like Duggar out there, it's easy to isolate him in certain situations, knowing he's going to be on a specific side of the field. So maybe Raheem Morris, rolls with more defensive backs. But the question with that would be like, okay, who are these defensive backs you're putting on the field? So
Right.
I don't, the defense is going to be the ultimate wild card this year. And a lot of roles are going to develop as the season goes along. I wouldn't just like offensive line, I would say. I think a lot of the players who play in week 1 may not be the same players who are playing by week 9, week 10. I think it's going to be a very fluid defense, and we're going to find that out as the season goes on.
Yeah. Sogras said, don't show anyone the Dylan Labe attempted tackle from Jaden Duggar. Is that the one that was like along the sidelines?
He did. It was almost like he was on a water slide, left his feet. It's like full sprawled out like that, like he was blocking a kick almost. It was not great.
Goofy too, because he's such a tall, long individual. Like, dude, just let your legs carry you over there
and just run through him, right?
Right, yeah, and you use your scarecrow arms to just wrap him up. Like he just doesn't seem like a player that's ever going to benefit from diving. That's just not his body type. Like, just allow yourself to get up on a guy and just swallow him up because he's such a big dude.
The good news is, like, realistically, he probably won't run into too many of those. Maybe some underneath tackles like that, but I would imagine he just lives on the line of scrimmage. Now, we saw like last week where he's carrying the tight end down the field. Maybe it's little things like that where you can trust and use his athleticism and not rely on a rookie in the open field.
Yeah, and this is a good point from Big Tone, who basically just says, like, Jaden Duggar being out on the field might look a little different when Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are also out on the field, and you're playing behind, whoever it is, Michael Williams, Samo, whoever's on his side, and Nick Bosa. If you got your crew, things will look different, and that's what somebody like Jaden Duggar's going to need. He's going to need to be held up. He's when they use the expression, the rising tide that lifts all boats, like. Jaden Duggar is one of the boats for now. Like, he needs to be lifted up by the guys around him, and you're just hoping they're all healthy. It's on
Warner if he messes up. It's on Greenlaw if he messes up throughout the week leading up. I would imagine, like, from an alignment standpoint, they're going to be on his ass, and they're going to make sure he knows every job that he has when he's on the field. So I think that is a very good point. If you make a mistake, you're going to get jumped. So don't make a mistake. Pretty simple.
Trey Greenlaw's just going to fucking delete you.
Right. Your teammate will swing on you warrior style. So don't make a mistake.
Sogras makes a good point too. He says he's shown that he's a project worth investing in for sure, which is a good point because when they first picked him, and a lot of the people I heard talking about him were like, dude, what the hell? Like, sure. I do not see what they see in this guy. And so I think he's shown that he at least belongs. There's something interesting there. But again, the week 1 blender of Sean McVay and the Rams offense will prove. But again, that offense in that scheme victimizes great players. So we'll see how
it's happened to like every linebacker the 49ers have played early on too, by the way. Like, Azeez was not this top tier prospect. He was an undrafted free agent. Dre Greenlaw was a day 3 pick. He took his lumps early on. I forgot who, like, they had a couple other guys who on the strong side were just not good. They could not play, and they cut bait pretty early on. So the fact that he does have athleticism, like, he hit the quarterback twice tonight. Nobody else can say that on the floor. Like, he was the only person to hit the quarterback multiple times. So, like, there are flashes that you see that you want to see. And he has done some things throughout training camp, throughout these preseason games. We're like, oh yeah, he can play. There's going to be rough patches along the way. Like, he's a rookie. Like, they're going to make mistakes. Can you minimize them as you get consistent? Like, that's the question.
Yeah, Larry Worth is Big Tone said, I actually like Worth. I don't know if he's gonna I don't know. He doesn't get a lot of time. Just small man. Would like to see more big nickel roll. Is he Will or Sam or something? I can't help it. No, Larry Worth is interesting, dude, because he's the type of guy that you would want covering a tight end, like a third tight end. He can hang with those players, and he's got the size and athleticism and kind of the background, especially as a former safety, that he could handle that stuff. But 49ers just have a deep linebacker room right now, and I don't know that they're going to be able to burn a spot for somebody like Larry Worth. If you're already burning a spot for somebody like Jaden Duggar, who's unquestionably a project, you can't burn two spots on two projects.
Two projects, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that
practice squad.
Yeah, if Worth doesn't get claimed, I think he's absolutely sticking around. You're talking about a guy that's showed up to a tryout and earned a spot, and not only earned a spot, but actually worked his way up to getting occasional first team reps. So he
When you're
sees
playing
something
with
there.
the ones, man, that's big time.
Playing with the big boys now. What that is Prince of Egypt, I think. Yeah. Anyways, ridiculous.
What?
Well, you've never seen Prince of Egypt, the Disney movie? It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. No, not Prince of Persia. Google, come on. Is it? I think it's Prince of Egypt. Yeah, dude, phenomenal. DreamWorks. I don't. It's not. I don't. Maybe it's not a Disney movie, but it's awesome. Okay,
Take
you
your
got to
word
be
for
there.
it.
Yeah, just look it up when we get done here. Watch it as you go to bed tonight. It's the story of Moses. Anyways, okay, I think that's a good thing
On
to
that
sign out
note?
on that note, on the Prince of Egypt, story of Moses, great movie, great animation, it's awesome. We should probably get out of here. I appreciate everybody who jumped in for the official takeaway tweet. I appreciate. As you can see, I have been talking for a long period of time. I'm losing it. At least I still have my voice. I don't know if I'll have it in the morning, but at least I've still got that. Appreciate everybody for being in here, man. It's takeaway time it's a new evolution being on YouTube, man. Being able to do the takeaways and have the chat rolling through to kind of just keep the conversation going. It's cool. I like it. I feel like we're all in here talking football together. KP, anything we missed out? Any closing thoughts? Did we leave anybody out?
No, I think we touched on pretty much everybody. Again, it's going to be just expect a fluid roster. And once the roster is set, expect a lot of these names to shuffle in and out of the lineup as Raheem Morris kind of figures out what he has.
Yeah, and we will be on here. We are planning on being on here shortly after the debut of the 53-man roster. So normally we're doing Mondays and Wednesdays, and that's going to change when games start rolling around. But I think we're going to be on here on Sunday live, breaking down the initial 53-man roster, and then it's all hands on deck from there. Yeah, they have to make the cut down. I think it's Sunday. Is it 3 p.m. or 1 p.m.? I can't remember. I think it's
1
3
our
p.m.
time.
Okay, 1 our time. All right. And so we'll be on here shortly after that. So come on by, hang out, be a part of the conversation. We'll be breaking down the 49ers' first iteration of the 53-man roster. But that's it for us, man. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for being here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're liking the videos and helping this thing grow. Make sure if you can, and you're on the podcast side of things, leave us a 5-star review, man. We appreciate it. But for another episode, that's KP. I'm Rob. This is Striking Gold, and we are signing out.